Welcome back to the Story Forge Haven. This is The Spark of Forgotten Things, which is the first of 10 dark mythic cyberpunk stories. Enjoy, and make sure to like and follow.
Book 1, The Spark of Forgotten Things. Chapter 1, Ashfall on the Lower Spires. The rain in VL9 never quite reached the ground. It hung in the air like static, silver needles of acid that hissed against the neon glyphs branding every surface. Below the 300th deck, the city was a throat of rusted steel and prayer screens, coughing up light. Kyle Voss, 31, half a lung, and a debt that could buy a small moon, balanced on the lip of a maintenance gantry, boots magnet-locked to a beam slick with coolant. His coat was patched ballistic weave, the kind that remembered every bullet it stopped. In his gloved hand, a cracked data orb the size of a child's heart, pulsing faint indigo. "Don't open it," the rational shard of his mind whispered. "Walk away. Sell it to the bone market. Eat for a year." But the orb's pulse matched the ache behind his eyes, the one that had started 3 nights ago when the dreams began. Corridors of black glass, a voice that wasn't a voice, promising all the names of things. Below, the alley was a canyon of refuse and flickering hollow ads. A child, no older than 12, picked through the garbage, her left arm a crude prosthetic of scrap and prayer tape. She looked up. Their eyes met. Something in Kale's chest twisted. He dropped. The fall was 30 meters, slowed by the grav tethers in his coat. He landed cat-quiet beside her. The girl flinched, clutching a half-eaten protein brick. "Easy," Kale murmured. "Not here for your scraps." She studied him, eyes too old for her face. "You're bleeding." He glanced at his side. A graze from yesterday's scuffle with the iron choir. Nothing new. "Old news," the orb in his pocket flared, warm against his ribs. The girl's gaze snapped to it. "That's hers." "Whose?" "The archivist." "The one who fell." She pointed upward, past the spires, to the black sky, where the orbital ring glittered like a noose. She screamed when the sky ate her. "Said the names would kill us all." Kale's fingers tightened around the orb. "Kid, you shouldn't." A low thrum cut him off. The alley's prayer screens flickered, glyphs rearranging into a single sigil, a circle bisected by a spiral. The same mark burned into the orb. The girl backed away. "It's waking up." The orb sang, not sound pressure. Coyle's vision tunneled. For a heartbeat, he saw the city as code. Every soul a node, every thought a packet, every death a deletion. And threading through it all, a shadow with no source, drinking. He staggered. The girl was gone, vanished into the steam. "Kyle." A voice behind him, gravel and smoke. He turned. Soren Vale, chronicler, ex-scribe of the Ascendancy, coat stitched with micro-LEDs that scrolled fragments of lost texts, leaned against a pillar. His left eye was a lens, whirring softly. "You found it." "You knew?" "I recorded." Soren's smile was thin. "The archivist's last transmission. She said the source would choose a hand. Looks like it picked yours." Kyle pulled the orb free. It hovered an inch above his palm, rotating, facets catching the neon and throwing it back as violet fire. "What is it?" "Knowledge. Unfiltered. The kind that rewrites the reader." Soren stepped closer. "Also, a key. To something that's been waiting a very long time." The sigil on the screens pulsed. Somewhere above, a siren wailed. Ascendancy patrol drones converging. Kyle closed his fist. The orb dimmed, but the pressure in his skull remained. "I was going to sell it." "You still can," Soren said, "but first, you'll want to see what it does." He gestured. At the alley's end, a section of wall slid aside, revealing a service shaft lit by bioluminescent moss. "My archive." "Safe." For now, Kale hesitated. The drones were closer, their searchlights carving white scars through the rain. He followed. The shaft descended into the city's bones, pipes weeping condensation, cables thick as pythons. Soren moved like he'd memorized every step. Kyle's coat snagged on a spur of rebar. He ripped it free, cursing. They emerged into a chamber that shouldn't exist, a dome of black glass, floor etched with concentric circles, at the center a pedestal, empty. Soren placed a hand on the glass. The archivist built this. A cage for the source. She thought she could study it. Kale's pulse thudded in his ears. And she opened it. Soren's lens eye clicked, focusing. 3 days later, the orbital ring went dark for 6 minutes. When it came back, half the Ascendancy's fleet was gone. No debris, no logs, just absence. The orb flared again, brighter. Kale's shadow stretched, warped, reached for the pedestal. He stepped back. I'm not her. No, Soren said softly. You're the next page. The drone's sirens were inside the shaft now, echoing like wolves. Kyle looked at the orb, then at the pedestal. 2 futures, sell it and live, or understand and burn. He placed the orb in the cradle. The dome screamed. Light, white, searing, exploded outward. Kyle's vision fractured into 1,000 mirrors. He saw a child in a burning arcology, reaching for a mother, already ash, a war fleet dissolving into starlight, a city of glass and bone, where every citizen wore the same face, and at the center a void with his name on its tongue. The light died. The orb was dark, cracked, but embedded in the pedestal. Runes crawled across its surface, forming a single word in a language Kyle somehow understood. Awaken. Soren was on his knees, lens eye bleeding light. It's beautiful. Kyle's hands shook. What did I just do? The answer came not from Soren, but from the dark between the runes, a voice like static and lullabies. You began the story. Above, the drones went silent. The city's prayer screens flickered, then steadied, but every glyph now carried a new spiral. Kyle stared at his reflection in the black glass. For the first time, he noticed the faint glow behind his eyes. Somewhere a child cried. Somewhere a fleet vanished. Somewhere the entity opened one of its countless eyes, and Kale Voss, debtor, scavenger, spark, took his first step into the fire he would spend 10 books trying to extinguish. Chapter 2. The Choir of Iron. The Ascendancy patrol drones hung above the alley like steel vultures, searchlights carving white scars through the acid rain. Kale's boots scraped rust as he sprinted after Soren, the chronicler's coat flickering with half-erased scripture. The source's cradle had gone dark, but the word awaken still burned behind Kale's eyes. They ducked into a maintenance crawl space, pipes sweating coolant that hissed against Kale's skin. Soren sealed the hatch with a whispered glyph. The drones passed overhead, engines whining like mourning widows. Keep moving, Soren hissed. They'll triangulate the pulse. Kale's lungs burned. Pulse? The source sang. Everything with a receiver heard it. Soren's lens eye-word scanning, including the choir. They emerged into Subdeck 42, a bazaar of black market augments and prayer vendors. Hollow ads flickered. Ascendancy protects. Obey. A child hawked neural laces from a crate. Another begged with a bowl of bioluminescent algae. The air stank of ozone and desperation. Kyle pulled his hood low. I need a buyer. Bone markets 3 levels down. Soren grabbed his arm. You still think this is about credits? A low thrum rolled through the deck. The hollow ads stuttered, glyphs twisting into the spiral sigil. Vendors froze. A prayer screen cracked, bleeding light. Then the choir arrived. They came from the vents, 6 figures in mirrored armor, faces hidden behind coral masks that amplified their voices into a single, perfect harmony. Iron Choir. Ascendancy Enforcers. Their gauntlets glowed with containment fields. Anomaly detected. Surrender the catalyst. Kyle's hand went to the knife at his belt. Useless. Soren's fingers danced over a wrist pad, uploading something. Stall them! Stall? The lead choir raised a hand. The deck's gravity fluctuated. Kyle's stomach lurched as the floor tilted. Vendors screamed, crates tumbling. Soren shoved Kyle behind a stall. The source left a signature. They'll tear the spire apart to find it. A new voice cut through the chaos. Sharp, amused, wrong. Oh, let them try. From the shadows stepped a figure in a patchwork coat of scavenged tech and prayer cloth. Tall, lean, hair a wild shock of copper wire. A grin like a knife. In one hand, a cracked data spike, glowing the same indigo as the source. Name's Rin, they said, twirling the spike. Trickster, thief, occasional prophet. You're the spark. I'm the kindling the choir turned as one. Interference registered. Rin winked at Kyle. Run! They threw the spike. It arced, trailing code like spider silk, and detonated in a burst of static. The choir's masks glitched, harmony fracturing into discordant screams. Gravity normalized with a snap. Soren was already moving. This way! They plunged into the crowd, Rin laughing like a mad thing. Kyle followed, heart hammering. Behind them, the choir regrouped, masks reforming. The bazaar ended at a freight lift. Doors rusted shut. Rin slammed a palm against the panel. Sparks flew. The doors groaned open, revealing a shaft plunging into darkness. Down, Rin said. Bone Market's neutral ground. Choir won't follow. Kale hesitated. Why help us? Rin's grin faded. Because the source chose you. And I've got debts older than this city. They stepped into the shaft, boots magnetizing to the wall. Also, I like trouble. Soren climbed after. Kyle followed, the lift's cables singing as they descended. The Bone Market was a cathedral of corpses and commerce. Skeletons hung from chains, augmented with neon veins. Vendors sold memories in vials, souls in jars. The air tasted of incense and decay. Rin led them to a stall, draped in black silk. Behind it, an old woman with eyes like polished obsidian. Her fingers were needles, stitching code into flesh. Granny Vex, Rin said. We've got a hot one. Vex didn't look up. The source wakes. I felt it in the marrow. Her needles paused. You bring death, Spark. Kyle's hand brushed the empty pocket where the orb had been. I didn't mean... Intent is noise. Vex's gaze flicked to him. The choir will come. The strategist will come. And the entity. She smiled, toothless. It already sees. Soren's lens eye clicked. We need extraction. Off-grid Vex gestured. A section of floor irised open, revealing a tunnel lit by bioluminescent fungi. The undervein leads to the old maglev. Payment. Rin tossed a data coin. It spun, landing on Vex's palm. My tab. Vex's needles resumed their work. Go. Before the choir sings your names, they descended. The tunnel was a throat of stone and cable, echoing with distant drips. Rin moved like they'd memorized every crack. Kale's voice was low. Who's the strategist? Soren answered. Mordrin Vale, my brother. Ex-ascendancy tactician. Now he builds empires in the cracks. A pause. He'll want the source, Rin snorted. He'll want you. The spark's just the fuse. The tunnel opened into a cavernous station. Rusted maglev cars, suspended in grav fields. Vines of fiber optic cable choking the tracks. A single car hummed, door open. Rin gestured. Last ride to the outer decks. After that, you're on your own. Kyle stepped aboard. The car's interior was gutted, seats replaced with crates of contraband. Soren sat, lens eye dim. Rin leaned against the door, arms crossed. The car lurched, accelerating into the dark. Kyle watched the tunnel lights streak by, each one a fleeting star. His reflection in the window wasn't alone. For a heartbeat, another face stared back, featureless, spiraled, smiling, The car screamed toward the outer decks, toward Mordrin, toward the war Kale had already lost the moment he placed the orb in its cradle. Behind them, the bone market's lights flickered. Granny Vex's needles stopped. In the silence, a new glyph formed on every screen, every skull, every vial of stolen memory. The story begins. Chapter 3. The Guardian's Lesson. The maglev car shuddered to a halt in a derelict station on the 87th deck, its grav fields coughing sparks. Kyle stepped onto cracked tile, the air thick with rust and the ghost of incense. Soren followed, lens eye scanning. Rin lingered by the door, data spike twirling. "End of the line," Rin said, "outer decks." No choir, no ascendancy. Just scavs and ghosts. Their grin was sharp. "Try not to die." Kale's hand brushed the empty pocket again. "You're not coming? Got debts to settle." Rin tossed something. A cracked comm bead. "Ping if you're still breathing in a week." They vanished into the dark, coat flapping like a broken wing. Soren's voice was low. "We need shelter. The source's echo is still bleeding. Every tracker in Vale 9 will feel it." Kyle nodded, but his gaze was on the station's far wall, a mural half erased by time. A figure in armor, sword raised, spiral sigil, burning on their chest. The paint was flaking, but the eyes, his eyes, were alive. A clang echoed. Footsteps. Heavy, from the shadows, stepped a mountain of a man, 2 meters tall, armor of scavenged plating and prayer chain. His face was scarred, one eye milky, the other sharp as a blade. A hammer rested on his shoulder, its head etched with the same spiral. "Kyle Voss," the man rumbled, "You carry the fire." Kyle's knife was out before he thought. "Who the hell? Name's Torin Hale." Guardian of the Forgotten Torin's voice was gravel and thunder. The source woke. I felt it in my bones. He tapped the hammer against the floor. The tile cracked. "You're going to need teaching." Soren stepped forward. "We don't have time for—" Torin's milky eye fixed on him. "Chronicler, your brother's dogs are 3 decks up. You want to outrun them? You listen." Kyle lowered the knife, but not far. "Teach me what?" Torin gestured to the mural. "That was me. 20 years ago, before the entity took my squad." He touched the spiral on his chest plate. It glowed faintly. "The source isn't a tool. It's a mirror. Shows you what you are." Most break Coil's throat was dry. "And you?" "I learned to carry the weight." Torin's hammer swung down, stopping an inch from Kale's boots. Lesson 1. Survival. The station trembled. Distant explosions. Choir drop pods, maybe? Or worse? Torin pointed to a rusted door. "Training ground. Old armory. Move." They ran. The armory was a cavern of broken mechs and shattered glyphs. Torin sealed the door with a weld spark from his gauntlet. Safe. For now, he faced Kyle. "The source left a mark on you. Feel it?" Kyle did. A pulse behind his eyes, like a second heartbeat. "Yeah. Good. Means you're still human." Torin tossed him a training blade. Dull, heavy. Lesson 2. Control. They sparred. Torin was a storm, slow but unstoppable. Kale danced, dodged, struck. Each clash sent sparks flying. Torin's hammer sang, a low note that vibrated in Kale's teeth. "Too reckless," Torin growled after disarming him for the 3rd time. "You fight like you've got nothing to lose." "I don't." Torin's milky eye narrowed. "Wrong. You've got everything. The city. The kid in the alley. The future." He tapped Kale's chest. "The source chose you because you care." "Don't waste it." Kale's breath ragged. "I didn't ask for this. None of us do." Torin's voice softened. "My squad thought we were saving the spires. We opened a vault, found the source's twin. The entity spoke through it. Turned my best friend into something else." He touched the scar across his face. "I carry him still." Soren, silent till now, spoke. The entity's awake. The choir's just the first wave. Mordrin will... A boom. The door buckled. Choir voices distorted. Catalyst located. Contain. Torin hefted his hammer. Lesson 3. Protect. He slammed the hammer into the floor. Runes flared. Ancient wards, cracking but holding. The door held. Kale's pulse raced. We're trapped. Torin grinned, fierce. No, we're cornered. Big difference. He pointed to a grate in the wall. Service tunnels lead to the outer hull. From there, the sky bridges. Soren was already prying it open. Kale hesitated. Why help us? Torin's milky eye gleamed. Because someone has to stand between the fire and the dark. Today, that's me. He clapped Kale's shoulder, nearly buckling his knees. Tomorrow, it's you. They crawled into the tunnels, tight, hot, stinking of oil. Torin's armor scraped sparks. Behind them, the armory door exploded. Choir light flooded the space. Kale's comm bead crackled. Rin's voice distant. Spark! You owe me a drink, don't die. The tunnel opened onto the outer hull, a vertigo of steel and stars. Vale Nine's arcology towers rose like spears, neon veins pulsing. Sky bridges arced between them, fragile as spider silk. Torin pointed to the nearest bridge. Cross. Find the resistance. Tell them the Guardian sent you. Kyle's stomach dropped. You're not coming. Torin's hammer glowed, wards flickering out. Someone has to hold the line. The choir poured from the tunnel. 6, then 12. Their masks sang a single note, shattering the air. Torin roared, charging. Hammer met armor in a blaze of light. Go! Kyle ran, Soren beside him. The bridge swayed under their weight, wind howling. Behind, Torin's hammer sang its last song, a low defiant note that echoed across the spires. Kyle didn't look back, but he felt it, the moment the song stopped. On the far side, a figure waited in the shadows. Copper hair, patchwork coat, Rin grinning like death. Told you trouble follows you, they said. Welcome to the war, Spark. Kale's hands shook. The source's pulse was gone, but Torin's words burned. Carry the weight. He would, for the kid in the alley, for the city, for the man who just bought them time with his life. The bridge trembled. Far below, Vale Nine's lights flickered, spiral sigils blooming like cancer. The entity watched, and somewhere, in the dark between thoughts, it smiled. Chapter 4. The Weight of Names. The sky bridge groaned under Kyle's boots, a lattice of rusted alloy and prayer wire swaying between arcologies. Wind screamed through the gaps, carrying ash and the faint metallic taste of blood. Soren ran beside him, coat flapping like a wounded bird. Rin led, copper hair whipping, data spike glowing like a beacon. Behind them, the outer hull was silent. Torin's hammer had stopped singing. Kale's chest ached, not from running, but from the absence. The Guardian's last roar echoed in his skull. Carry the weight. Rin vaulted a broken section of railing. Eyes front, spark. Morning's a luxury we can't afford. They reached the far tower, a spire of black glass veined with neon scripture. Its doors were sealed, glyphs pulsing red. Rin slammed their palm against a panel. Sparks flew. The doors sighed open, revealing a lobby of shattered chandeliers and dried blood. Welcome to the Hollow Choir, Rin said. Old Resistance safe house. Torin's people. Kyle stepped inside. The air was colder, thick with the scent of ozone and old incense. Hollow portraits lined the walls, faces of the fallen, eyes scratched out. At the center, a pedestal like the one in the dome, but cracked empty. Soren's lens eye whirred. The Source's twin. Torin mentioned it. Rin nodded. Entity took it, turned the choir into puppets. Torin was the last free voice. They kicked a fallen banner. It unfurled, Spiral sigil, bleeding light. Now, it's just us. Coil's fists clenched. Then we take it back. Rin laughed, bitter. With what army? The Ascendancy's locking down the decks. Mordrin's moving. And the entity... They tapped their temple. It's whispering. A low thrum rolled through these lobby. The glyphs on the walls flickered, rearranging into words. The spark burns. Kale's vision blurred. For a heartbeat, he saw Torin again. Hammer raised, armor cracking, mouth open in a silent scream. Then the image shattered. Soren grabbed his arm. Focus! The source left a fragment in you. It's trying to sink. Rin pulled a crate from the shadows. Inside, a tangle of neural laces and a single cracked visor. Torin's spare. Old school. No back doors. They tossed it to Kyle. Put it on. Might keep the whispers out. Kyle hesitated, then slipped it over his eyes. The world sharpened, edges glowing, data streams visible like rivers of light. Torin's voice faint. Lesson 2. Control. The lobby doors exploded inward. Choir enforcers poured in. 10, 12. Masks singing in perfect discord. Catalyst. Surrender. Rin spun their data spike. Time to dance. Kyle drew his knife. Useless, but it was something. Soren uploaded a virus. Glyphs on the walls glitched, slowing the choir. Rin moved like lightning, spike carving arcs of static. 2 choir dropped, masks shattering. Coil fought beside them, visor feeding him angles, weak points. He parried a gauntlet, slashed a cable. Sparks flew, but there were too many. A containment field slammed into Kyle, pinning him to the floor. His vision tunneled. Soren shouted, "The pedestal!" Rin dove, slamming their spike into the cracked cradle. Light erupted, not the source's white fire, but something colder. Blue. The choir froze, masks cracking. Kyle broke free, lungs burning. The blue light coalesced into a figure, holographic, flickering. A woman, armor like Torin's, face half erased. "Spark," she whispered, voice layered with static. "The name is the chain." The choir screamed as one, masks imploding. They collapsed, armor empty. The hologram flickered out. The lobby was silent. Kale staggered to the pedestal, etched into the crack, a single word, glowing. Kael. His name, his chain. Rin's grin was gone. Torin's last gift. He burned his echo to buy us time. Soren's lens eye was dark. The entity knows you now. By name, Kale touched the etching. It was warm. Then we make it fear the name. Outside, sirens wailed. Mordrin's forces closing in. Rin sealed the doors with a weld spark. We've got maybe an hour. Then the strategist comes calling. Kyle looked at the fallen choir. Empty husks, spiral sigils burned into their chests. Torin's lesson echoed. Protect. He picked up a fallen gauntlet. Heavy, but it fit. Then we don't run. We teach. Soren's voice was soft. You're not ready. Kyle met his gaze. None of us are. The pedestal pulsed once, then dimmed. In the silence, a new glyph formed on every surface. The fire spreads. Far above, in the orbital ring, a single light blinked awake. The entity stretched, tasting the name Coil Voss like wine. And in the hollow choir, 3 shadows prepared for war. Chapter 5. The Trickster's Bargain. The hollow choir's lobby stank of scorched alloy and ozone. Empty choir husks lay like broken dolls, spiral sigils cooling on their chests. Kyle flexed the stolen gauntlet. Its containment field hummed, a low thrum syncing with the pulse behind his eyes. Soren knelt by the pedestal, fingers tracing the etched Kael, lens eye flickering as it recorded. Rin paced, data spike spinning. Hours burning. Mordrin's vanguard will breach the sky bridges soon. We need a play. Kyle's voice was raw. We hit back. Rin snorted. With what? 3 scavs and a dead man's echo. Soren stood. The source fragment in Kyle. It's unstable, but... He tapped his wrist pad. A holomap bloomed, showing Vale 9's decks in crimson webs. It's broadcasting. Every tracker in the spire is converging. We can use that. Kale's gut twisted. Bait! Distraction, Soren corrected. We feed the entity noise. Buy time to vanish. Rin's grin returned, crooked. I like noise. They moved to the safe house's armory. Racks of scavenged rifles, prayer grenades, neural laces glowing in jars. Rin tossed Coil a rifle. Its stock was carved with the spiral. Torrens. He'd approved. Kyle hefted it. Heavy. Real. Plan? Rin cracked open a crate. Inside, a sphere of black glass. Veins of indigo light, pulsing. Echo bomb. Old choir tech. Screams the source's signature across every channel. They'll chase the ghost. We slip the net. Soren's lens eye narrowed. Risky. The entity will learn. Kale met his gaze. It already knows my name. Rin armed the bomb. Timer glowing. 30 minutes. We plant it in the maglev hub. Ride the blast wave out. Questions? Coil's hand brushed the gauntlet. 1. Why you, Rin? Debts? Rin's grin faltered. For a heartbeat, their eyes were old. Let's just say I owed Torin. And the entity took something I can't get back. They tapped the data spike. This is interest. Soren uploaded coordinates. Hub's 2 decks down. We go loud. They moved. Through service shafts, past squatter camps where children stared with hollow eyes. The city's pulse was wrong. Prayer screens glitching, glyphs bleeding. The entity's whisper was everywhere. The maglev hub was a cathedral of rusted rails and broken holiness. Trains hung like carcasses, cables weeping sparks. Rin planted the echo bomb at the central node, timer ticking, 00:29:47. Kyle's visor pinged, choir signatures closing fast. Company! Soren hacked a train car, doors hissing open. Bored, they piled in. Rin hotwired the controls. The car lurched, accelerating into the dark. Behind, the hub screamed, the bomb detonating in a wave of indigo light. Every screen in Vale 9 flared, spiral sigils blooming like cancer. The train roared through tunnels, sparks cascading. Kyle's visor showed chaos. Choir diverted, ascendancy fleet scrambling. The entity's whisper faltered, confused. Rin laughed, wild. That's the stuff. But Soren's face was grim. It's learning. The fragment in you, it's adapting. Kyle felt it, the pulse behind his eyes, sharpening, hungry. His reflection in the window smiled without him. The train burst into open air, a sky bridge collapse, rails ending in void. Rin yanked the brake. Metal screamed. The car skidded, stopping inches from the drop. Silence. Then, laughter. Not Rin's, a child's. From the shadows stepped the girl from the alley, prosthetic arm glowing, eyes too bright. You're late, Spark. Coil's rifle snapped up. How? She tilted her head. The entity sends its regards. Her arm unfolded, revealing a cannon of bone and wire. Name's Lyra, the innocent. And you're going to give me the fragment. Soren's voice was soft. It's in her. Rin's data spike spun. Trap. Lyra smiled, sweet and terrible. Bargain. The fragment for the city. Refuse and the spire falls. Kale's gauntlet hummed. You're a kid. Kids die first, Lyra said. Your entity's lesson. Her cannon charged, indigo light bleeding. Rin stepped forward. Take me instead. Lyra's eyes flickered. You? Debts, Rin said. You want a host? I'm prettier. Kale's heart hammered. But Rin was already moving. Spike raised. Tell Torin I paid up. Lyra fired. Rin twisted, Spike intercepting the beam. Light exploded. When it cleared, Rin was on their knees, arm burnt to bone. Data spike cracked. Lyra advanced. Fool! Kyle lunged, gauntlet flaring. The containment field slammed Lyra into the wall. Her cannon sputtered. Soren uploaded a virus, her prosthetic seized, sparking. Rin coughed blood. Go. Bomb bought. Minutes Kyle grabbed them. Not leaving, Rin shoved him. Protect. Their eyes met Lyra's. Kid's not the monster. Entity is. End it, Lyra screamed, prosthetic tearing free. Beneath not flesh, but code. Spiral sigils crawled her skin. The entity's voice, layered. The spark is mine. Soren dragged Kyle back. The train car lurched, rails collapsing. They jumped to the bridge's edge. As the car plummeted, Lyra's scream echoing into the void. Rin stayed aboard, smiling through blood. See you in the dark, Spark. The car vanished. The bridge trembled. Far below, Veil 9's lights flickered. Spiral sigils spreading. Kyle's hands shook. Soren's voice was hollow. The entity wanted the fragment. It got a host. Kale stared into the abyss. Torin's lesson burned. Carry the weight. He would. For Rin, for Lyra, for the city burning below. The pulse behind his eyes sharpened, hungry. And somewhere, in the dark between thoughts, the entity laughed. Chapter 6. The First Temptation. The sky bridge's edge crumbled under Kale's boots, ash and acid rain hissing where it met the void. Soren clung to a prayer wire cable, lens eye dark, coat shredded. Below, the maglev car's wreckage burned, a brief defiant star swallowed by Veil 9's neon maw. Rin was gone. Lyra was gone. The echo bomb's scream still rang in Kyle's ears, but the city's pulse had steadied, spiral sigils blooming on every screen, every spire, every soul. Kyle's gauntlet sparked, containment field flickering. The fragment behind his eyes throbbed, hungry. Torin's voice, faint, control. Soren's voice cut through the wind. We're exposed. Mordrin's hunters will... A crack. The bridge shuddered. From the far tower, a new light. Crimson, surgical. A drone swarm. Ascendancy black, spiraling toward them like locusts. Kyle's rifle snapped up. No time. Soren pointed to a maintenance hatch in the bridge's spine. Service conduit. Leads to the mid-decks. Move. They dove inside. Tight. Hot. Cables weeping. Coolant. The drone's whine faded behind bulkheads. Kyle's visor pinged. Heat signatures closing. Soren hacked a panel. Doors sealed. Safe. For now, Coil slumped against the wall. Rifle clattering. Rin, Lyra, Torin, all gone. Because of me, Soren's lens eye clicked. Because of the source, you're just the hand that held it. Kale's laugh was bitter. Hand, spark, catalyst. He tapped his temple. It's in me now. I feel it, wanting. The conduit hummed. A glyph flickered on the wall. Spiral, pulsing. The entity's whisper, soft as silk. Give it to me. End the pain. Kale's vision blurred. He saw Veil 9 whole, spires gleaming. No ash, no acid. Children laughing. No choir, no Mordrin. Just order. The fragment pulsed, offering the image like a drug. Soren grabbed his shoulder. Kyle! Fight it! Kyle blinked. The vision shattered. The conduit was dark, stinking of rust. How? Soren pulled a data shard from his coat. Cracked, glowing indigo. Torin's echo. Rin slipped it to me before the train. A firewall. Old code. Might cage the fragment. Kale took it. Warm. Might? Better than surrender. Soren's voice was steel. The entity wants control. Give it chaos. Kale slotted the shard into his gauntlet. Light erupted, white, searing. The fragment screamed, a soundless wail in his skull. Pain lanced through him. He hit the floor, convulsing. Soren held him down. Breathe. Name yourself. Kale. Voss. The words were anchors. The pain ebbed. The fragment quieted, caged but watching. The conduit trembled. Drones breached the hatch. Sparks, screams. Soren uploaded a virus. Bulkhead slammed, shut. We're out of time. Kale stood, gauntlet steady. Then we go loud. They ran, through conduits, past squatter dens where eyes glowed with spiral light. The mid-decks were a war zone, choir clashing with Mordrin's mercenaries, streets burning, prayer screens screamed. The spark lives. Soren hacked a lift. Doors hissed open. Inside, a single figure, hooded, armored, hammer etched with the spiral. Not Torin, smaller, younger. The figure lowered their hood. A girl, 16 maybe. Eyes like Lyra's, but human. You're late. Kale's rifle raised. Who? Name's Alara, the innocent. She smiled. Sad. Lyra was my sister. The entity took her. I'm what's left Soren's Lynn's eye word. Your resistance? Torin's last recruit. Alara stepped aside. The lift descended, cables singing. He said the spark would come. Said to guide him, Kyle's throat tightened. He's dead. I know. Ilara's voice was soft. But his echo lives. In you, the lift opened into a hidden bunker. Walls of black glass, racks of weapons, hollow maps of Vale 9 pulsing red. A dozen fighters, faces scarred, eyes hard. Alara gestured. The resistance. What's left? Mordrin's coming. The choir's puppet. The entity's tool Kale's gauntlet hummed. Then we cut the strings. Alara's smile was fierce. First a choice. She led him to a pedestal, cracked, like the hollow choir. On it, a shard of the source, smaller, darker. Lyra's fragment. The entity left it. A gift Soren's voice was sharp. Trap. Maybe, Alara said. Or a weapon. Merge it with yours. Become what Torin couldn't. Kyle stared at the shard. The fragment in him sang, hungry. The entity's whisper returned. Take it. End the war. Be the order Vale 9 burned outside. Children screamed. Spiral sigils spread. Kyle's hand hovered. Torin's lesson, protect. Rin's last words. End it. He closed his fist. The shard cracked. Light bleeding. No shortcuts. Alara's eyes widened. You refuse? I fight with the fire. Not as it. The bunker trembled. Mordrin's voice boomed over comms. Coil Voss. Surrender the source, or the mid-decks burn. Coil met Ilara's gaze. Gear up. We're not running the resistance armed. Rifles, prayer grenades, neural laces. Soren uploaded battle plans. Ilara handed Coil a new coat, Torin's colors, spiral faint. Coil donned it. Heavy, right. The bunker doors opened. Outside, Mordrin's army waited. Mechs, mercenaries, choir puppets. At their head, a figure in tactical armor, face hidden behind a mask of shifting glyphs. The strategist. Kale stepped forward, gauntlet flaring. The fragment pulsed, caged, but ready. The war began. And in the dark between thoughts, the entity watched, patient. Chapter 7. The Strategist's Gambit. The mid-decks burned. Fire licked the arcology walls, neon scripture melting into slag. Kyle stood at the bunker's mouth, Torin's coat heavy on his shoulders, gauntlet humming like a caged storm. Behind him, Alara, Soren, 12 resistance fighters, faces painted with ash and spiral scars. Ahead, Mordrin's army, mechs stomping, mercenaries howling, choir puppets singing discord. At the center, the strategist, mask of shifting glyphs, armor black as void. His voice rolled like thunder over comms. Kyle Voss. The source is mine. Surrender. And the decks live Kyle's rifle answered. A burst of plasma that shattered a mech's knee. Come take it! The battle exploded. Resistance fighters charge, prayer grenades blooming into containment fields, neural laces hacking enemy targeting. Alara moved like wind, twin blades carving choir masks. Soren uploaded viruses from cover, mechs freezing mid-step. Kyle fought at the heart, gauntlet flaring, rifle barking. The fragment behind his eyes sang, feeding him angles, weak points. A merc lunged. Kyle parried, Containment field crushing armor. Another fired. He rolled, plasma grazing Torin's coat. Mordrin watched from a command platform, glyphs shifting faster. Drones swarmed overhead, painting targets. Alara shouted, "He's stalling!" Coil's visor pinged, heat signatures converging. Reinforcements. Mordrin's play. Bleed them dry, then strike. Soren's voice crackled over comms. "I've got a window." Maglev Junction. Collapse it. Cut his supply line. Kyle nodded. "Alara, cover me." They ran. Through fire. Past screaming civilians. A child clutched a broken doll. Eyes glowing spiral. Kyle scooped her up, passed her to a fighter. Protect. The junction was a cathedral of rails and ruin. Mordrin's supply convoy rumbled below. Tanks, ammo, choir pods. Soren knelt by a console, fingers flying. Charges set. 10 seconds Kyle guarded the door. Mercs poured in. He fought. Gauntlet, rifle. Fury. One Merc's blade grazed his side. Blood hissed on hot metal. He crushed the man's helmet, moved on. Alara's blades danced, keeping the tide at bay. "Hurry!" Soren slammed the console. Boom! The junction collapsed. Rails twisting. Convoy vanishing in fire and dust. Mordrin's platform trembled. Over comms, the strategist's voice, calm, cold. Predictable. A new sound. Singing. Pure, perfect. Choir reinforcements, dozens, descending from the spires on grav tethers. Their masks formed a single glyph, K-A-E-L. Alara's face paled. "It's learning your name." Kyle's fragment roared, pain lancing his skull. Visions, Veil 9, remade. Every soul a node, him at the center. The entity's offer, be the order. End the war, he staggered. Alara caught him. "Kale, fight!" Soren uploaded a final virus. Choir masks glitched, some shattering. But more came. Mordrin's platform descended. The strategist stepped off, mask dissolving into a human face. Sharp, familiar. Soren's brother. "Mordrin," Soren whispered. The strategist smiled. "Brother." "You chose the wrong side," Kyle raised his rifle. "Call them off." Mordrin's gaze flicked to him. "The source is unstable. Give it to me. I'll contain it." Alara's blade spun. "Liar," Mordrin ignored her. "You're bleeding, Spark. The fragment's killing you." "I can save the city," Coil's side burned. The child's doll flashed in his mind. Torin's hammer. Rin's grin. "No shortcuts." Mordrin sighed. "Then you force my hand." He raised a device. Small, crystalline. A second source shard. Darker. It sang, syncing with Coil's fragment. Pain exploded. Coil dropped. Vision tunneling. Alara lunged. Mordrin's gauntlet flared. Containment field slamming her into a wall. Soren fired. Mordrin dodged, effortless. The strategist knelt by Coil. "You're the key?" "But keys can be remade." He pressed the dark shard to Kyle's chest. Light erupted, black, consuming. The fragment in Kyle screamed, merging, growing. Soren shouted, "Kyle!" Alara broke free, blades flashing. A merc intercepted. Her blade pierced his throat. She reached Kyle, pulled the dark shard free. It cracked, bleeding shadow. Mordrin's mask reformed. "Foolish," he signaled. The choir sang a single note, shattering the junction's remains. Debris rained. Resistance fighters fell. Kyle rose, fragment wild. His gauntlet flared uncontrollably, plasma arcing. "Enough!" He unleashed. Containment field expanded, crushing mechs, scattering choir. Mordrin retreated to his platform, glyphs frantic. Alara grabbed Cole. "We're losing!" Soren uploaded a final command. Nearby spire charges detonated, collapsing escape routes. "Go! I'll hold!" Kyle hesitated. Soren's lens eye glowed. "Protect! Tell my brother." He was wrong. Soren charged into the choir. Virus grenade blooming. Light consumed him. Kale and Alara ran, through fire, past the dying. The mid-decks fell behind them, Mordrin's army claiming victory. They reached a hidden shaft. Alara sealed it. Silence. Kale's hands shook. Soren gone. Rin gone. Torin gone. The fragment quiet, but changed. Stronger. Ilara's voice was soft. He bought us time. Kyle stared into the dark. Time for what? She handed him Soren's data shard, cracked, glowing. To find the resistance. To end this far above, Mordrin's platform rose. The strategist touched his mask, glyphs settling into a new pattern. The spark endures, and in the void between spires, the entity stretched, tasting chaos. The first battle was lost. The war had just begun. Chapter 8. The Cost of Victory. The shaft's darkness pressed like a coffin. Kyle and Ilara climbed, hands raw on rusted rungs. The mid-deck's inferno, a dull roar below. Soren's data shard glowed faintly in Kyle's gauntlet, its light the only tether to the chronicler's last act. The fragment behind Kyle's eyes pulsed, stronger, angrier, feeding on the chaos. Ilara's voice was a whisper. He knew. Soren. He planned it. Kyle's throat burned. Doesn't make it right. They emerged into a forgotten atrium. Glass dome cracked, stars bleeding through. Vale 9's upper spires loomed, neon veins pulsing spiral sigils. The resistance bunker was gone, swallowed by Mordrin's fire. Ilara knelt by a fallen fighter, spiral scar on his cheek, eyes glass. Joran. He had a daughter. She closed the man's eyes. We're all that's left. Kyle's gauntlet sparked. The fragment whispered, They died for you. Take the power. End it. Visions flashed. Spires whole. Mordrin kneeling. The entity sated. He crushed the vision. No. Ilara stood, blades sheathed. Then we vanish. Regroup. The outer resistance. Torin's old network. They'll listen to the spark Kale's visor pinged. Choir signatures. Faint but closing. Mordrin's hunting. They moved. Through sky bridges, past squatter camps, where spiral-eyed children chanted Mordrin's name. The city was changing. Prayer screens showed the strategist's face, mask gone, promising order. Ilara hacked a lift to the 512th deck, old archive levels, pre-ascendancy. Doors hissed open into a library of dust and data tomes, shelves towering like bones. Hologlyphs flickered, half erased. At the center, a pedestal. Intact. A third source shard, pristine, glowing white. Ilara's breath caught. Torin's cache. He hid it, Kyle approached. The fragment in him sang, harmonious. The entity's voice, soft. Complete the circuit. Become whole. He reached. Ilara grabbed his wrist. Don't. It's what it wants. Kale's hand trembled. We need the power. At what cost? Ilara's eyes were Lyra's, but human. Soren died to cage it. Rin burned for it. Torin broke for it. The atrium trembled. Choir dropped pods, crashing through the dome. Glass raining. Masks sang, Catalyst. Surrender the circuit. Kyle's gauntlet flared. No time. He smashed the pedestal. The white shard shattered, light exploding outward. Choir masks cracked, puppets collapsing. The fragment in coil roared, drinking the light. Growing. Ilara shielded her eyes. Kale! The light died. The shard was gone, absorbed. Kyle's vision sharpened. Every data stream, every soul, every thread of the entity's web. He saw Mordrin's platform spiraling toward them, saw the entity's eyes, countless, watching. He staggered. Ilara caught him. What did you do? Ended the temptation. His voice was layered, fragment and self. For now. Choir husks stirred, masks reforming. Ilara pulled him toward a side exit. We run. They fled. Through archive tunnels, past tomes, burning with spiral fire. The city screamed. Mordrin's voice everywhere. The spark burns the city. Surrender or perish. They reached a sky dock. Old shuttles, rusted but intact. Ilara hotwired one. Engines coughed to life. Kyle boarded, Gauntlet dim. The fragment was quiet, but changed. Stronger, waiting. Alara sealed the hatch. The shuttle lurched, rising through ash and acid. Below, Veil 9 burned. Mordrin's victory. Kale stared at the flames. Soren's shard pulsed once, then dimmed. A final message, etched in light. Record. The spark lives. The entity watches. Alara's voice was soft. Where to? Kyle's gaze lifted. To the orbital ring. Light's flickering spiral. The resistance. Torin's network. We warned them the shuttle banked, vanishing into the neon storm. Behind, Mordrin's army claimed the middecks. The strategist stood on his platform, mask reformed, glyphs settling into a new pattern. Victory. But in the void between spires, the entity smiled. The circuit was broken, but the spark burned brighter. Kyle Voss was free. For now. And the war had only begun. Chapter 9. The Signal in the Static. The shuttle screamed through Veil 9's upper atmosphere, engines coughing plasma. Kyle gripped the co-pilot seat, Torin's coat singed, gauntlet dim. Alara piloted with grim focus, her blades sheathed but bloodied. Below, the arcology burned, Mordrin's victory painted in neon and ash. Soren's data shard pulsed faintly in Kale's palm, its last message etched in light. The entity watches. The fragment behind Kale's eyes was quiet, but heavy. The white shard's destruction had fed it, made it aware. He saw threads now. Data streams weaving through the city, spiral sigils pulsing like heartbeats. The entity's web. Alara's voice cut through the engine's roar. Orbital rings locked down. Mordrin's fleets patrol the docks. We're ghosts! Kale's visor flickered. Choir signatures. Faint, but tracking. Not for long. She banked hard, diving into a storm of acid clouds. Lightning cracked, illuminating the shuttle's cracked hull. Torin's network. Old resistance cells in the void cities. If we reach the ashen drift, we're clear. Kale nodded, but his gaze was on the shard. Soren said warn them. What exactly are we warning about? Alara's knuckles whitened on the controls. The source isn't a tool. It's a seed. Every time you use it, the entity grows. Mordrin thinks he's controlling it. He's just fertilizer. The shuttle shuddered. Proximity alert. Acquire interceptor, black as void, spiraling from the clouds. Its masks sang, Catalyst, return! Alara swore. Hold on! She rolled the shuttle, plasma cannons barking. The interceptor dodged, returning fire. The hull breached. Air screaming out. Kyle's gauntlet flared, sealing the tier with a containment field. Got a plan? He shouted. Alara grinned, fierce. Crash it. She dove, straight into the ashen drift, a graveyard of derelict stations orbiting Veil 9, shuttles, freighters, war hulks, frozen in decay, cables drifting like kelp. The interceptor followed, cannons blazing. Alara wove through the wreckage, sparks cascading. Kyle hacked the shuttle's comms with Soren's shard, static blooming into a signal. This is the spark, Torin's echo. The entity wakes. Resistance. Answer. Static. Then, a voice. Gravel and static. Spark. This is Captain Vren. Ashes hold. Coordinates locked. Come home. Alara's eyes lit. Vren. Torin's second. We're in the interceptor fired. A missile, spiraling. Alara rolled. It grazed a derelict freighter, detonating. The blast wave slammed the shuttle. Engines failing. Coil's fragment surged, feeding him the web. Debris trajectories. Interceptor vectors. Left. Now! Alara obeyed. The shuttle spun, missing a war hulk by inches. The interceptor wasn't so lucky, crashing into a station's spine, exploding in white fire. Silence. The shuttle drifted, engines dead. Alara hotwired the sparks, coughs, life. We're limping. Ash's hold is close, Kyle's visor pinged. New signatures. Not choir. Resistance. Shuttles, patched and armed, converging. Vren's voice crackled. Spark. You're late. Dock 7. They approached Ash's hold, a hollowed asteroid, stations grafted like barnacles. Docking clamps grabbed the shuttle, pulling it into a bay lit by bioluminescent vines. Fighters waited, scarred, spiral-marked, eyes hard. Vren stepped forward. Tall, one arm cybernetic, face a map of burns. Torrens coat. You wear it well. Kyle stepped down, legs shaking. He's gone. Soren too. Rin. Mordrin took the mid-decks. Vren's gaze flicked to Alara. Lyra's sister? Alara nodded, blades glinting. The entities in the city. In everything, Vren led them inside. Tunnels of steel and bone. Hollow maps of Veil 9 pulsing red. Resistance cells. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Weapons, data cores. Children training with neural laces. Kyle's fragment hummed. Threads visible. Every fighter a node, every weapon a choice. The entity watched. Vren stopped at a war room. Hollow table showed Mordrin's empire. Spires claimed orbital ring fortified. The strategist thinks he's won. He's wrong. Kale placed Soren's shard on the table. Light bloomed. Soren's final record. The source is awakening. Torrens stand. Rin's sacrifice. The white shard's destruction. Fighters watched, silent. A child, spiral scar faint, whispered, "The spark." Vren's voice was steel. We hit back. Void cities rally. We take the orbital ring. Kale's hand brushed Torrens' coat. Mordrin has a source shard, darker. He's feeding it. Alara's blades spun. Then we cut the hand. Vren nodded. Plan set. But first, he gestured to a pedestal, empty. The spark proves himself. Kyle's fragment sang. The entities whisper. Show them. Be the fire. He stepped forward. What's the test? Vren smiled, grim. Survive the drift. Outside, the bay doors opened. Void yawned. Stars, debris, silence. Kyle's gauntlet flared. Alara's hand brushed his. Together. They stepped into the dark. And in the orbital ring, Mordrin's mask flickered. The strategist touched a dark shard, glyphs shifting. The spark comes. The entity stretched. Patient. The resistance was born. Chapter 10. The Voice of the People. The void of the ashen drift swallowed sound. Kyle floated in a patched EVA suit, tether clipped to Alara's, gauntlet glowing faint indigo. Debris drifted, shards of stations, frozen bodies, spiral sigils etched in ice. Ash's hold loomed behind, a scarred asteroid bristling with resistance guns. Vren's voice crackled over comms. Survive the drift. Prove the spark burns true. Alara's blades were magnetized to her back, eyes sharp through her visor. Torrens test. He made every recruit face the dark. Kyle's fragment hummed. Threads of the entity's web visible even here. Data streams flickering between stars. What are we looking for? She pointed. A derelict war hulk, half-kilo long, spiraling slow. The Echo. Torrens' old flagship. Entity took it. If we reclaim the core, we prove we're not puppets. They jetted toward it. Thrusters coughing. The hulk's hull was scarred, spiral sigils pulsing like wounds. Docking clamps grabbed them. Inside, corridors of frost and bone, lights flickering spiral. Kale's gauntlet flared, melting ice. Choir? Alara's blade spun free. Worse. Echoes. They moved through zero-G halls, past frozen crew. Masks fused to faces. The fragment fed Kale visions. The Hulk's fall, Torrens' stand, the entity's first whisper. A thrum. Choir puppets stirred. Masks reforming, gauntlets glowing. Catalyst! Complete the circuit! Alara charged. Blades sang, carving armor. Kyle's gauntlet unleashed containment fields, crushing puppets. Sparks cascaded in silence. They reached the core chamber, a dome of black glass, pedestal cracked. At its heart, a fourth source shard, black as void, spiraling. The entity's voice layered. Take it. Be the order. End the war. Kyle's fragment roared, sinking. Visions. Veil 9 remade. Mordrin broken. Resistance kneeling. Him at the center. Alara grabbed his arm. Kale, no! A new voice. Vren's overcoms. Spark. The drift tests truth. Choose Kale's hand hovered. Torin's coat felt heavier. Soren's shard pulsed. Protect. He smashed the pedestal. The black shard shattered, shadow exploding outward. Puppets screamed, masks imploding. The Hulk trembled, systems failing. Alara's eyes widened. You destroyed it. Ended the circuit. Kyle's voice was steady. Fragment quiet. No more seeds. The chamber collapsed. Bulkheads buckling. They jetted out, thrusters flaring. The echo imploded, a silent star winking out. Ash's Hold's bay doors opened. Vren waited. Fighters behind him. Kyle and Alara docked. Suits hissing. Vren's cyber arm word. You broke the shard. Torin's test. Passed. Kyle removed his helmet, breath fogging. Mordrin's next. Vren's holotable bloomed, Veil 9 in flames, orbital ring fortified. The strategist claims victory, but the Void Cities rally. Your signal woke them, Alara's blades gleamed. We take the ring. Kyle placed Soren's shard on the table. Light flared. Soren's final record, now a beacon. Resistance fighters watched, eyes hard. A child stepped forward, spiral scar faint, holding a cracked data orb. The spark, she whispered. The voice. Kyle knelt. What's your name? Lyra, she said. Like my sister. She said you'd come. Kyle's throat tightened. He took the orb, pulsing faint indigo, a new fragment. Clean. Vren's voice was steel. The people hear you, Spark. Mordrin's empire cracks. Kale stood, Torin's coat steady. The fragment in him was silent, but his. Then we speak. Outside, void cities lit. Shuttles, stations, fleets. Spiral sigils flickered, then broke. The resistance rose. In the orbital ring, Mordrin's mask cracked. The strategist touched his dark shard, glyphs frantic. The voice rises. Kyle Voss, Debtor, Scavenger, Spark, looked to the stars. The first book ended. The war burned brighter. And in the dark, between thoughts, the entity waited, patient.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. Hit like and follow, because the adventure isn't over. There are 10 stories in this series, and this was only the first. Yay! Bye now.